Hi there, my crafty friends. It is Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind stampedAF. I am making a super fun and bright card for you today. This is for the What Will You Stamp Challenge, and I know that I did a rainbow card for that last week as well. You can probably tell that I've been watching some Jennifer Maguire videos, and I just wanted to play around. This is a fun, she calls it a trapped embossed resist. So I want to show you how I made this. And we are going to change, I think, one thing on this card from how I made the original, and you'll see when I get there. So we are going to start with a piece of glimmer paper, and I'm just going to use the sheet of cardboard that I used when I made my sample card, if I could get this off. So we're just going to take a piece of the glimmery white cardstock. This has a beautiful shimmer in it, which is super hard to catch on video. I know I got it there once. You can see a little bit of it there. So I'm just going to cut this into 4 pieces. We don't want to start off at our typical card size mat because we want to cut off a little bit of the sides. So we are going to cut this at 5.5. And then we should be able to cut both of these at the same time, and we're going to do that at 4.25. And I should mention this is A2 sized cardstock, so this is 8.5 by 11. For those of you who may be watching overseas, I don't want you cutting your cardstock wrong, so this is for A2 size card. Okay, so we've got our shimmery white. We're just going to tape it on here. You can see that's about the size I had last night, maybe a little bit smaller. Just going to take some cheap washi tape, and because we're cutting this off, it doesn't matter that we're going to have that little line there. So we are going to start. We are using some very brights. We have got from the top Granny Apple Green, Coastal Cabana, Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, Mango Melody, and Pineapple Punch. I wanted the Pineapple Punch instead of Daffodil Delight because it really does give a punch. So I have got, these are like the Picket Fences life-changing blender brushes, but they are from Dollarama. I've got one here, but we're going to save that for a technique later on. I always like to start with my lightest color, so let's just stack these. Now I did end up with a really large area of the Pineapple Punch, so I'm going to try and change that. And after I do the Pineapple Punch, we're going to do the Granny Apple Green and the Coastal Cabana, because I find that when I do them after the Gorgeous Grape, it ends up kind of muddy. I don't get a really good blend, so we may have to change brushes. And I mean, these are Dollarama. It was, I think, $2.50. They are sold out like everywhere now because I think every crafter has caught on to the fact that you can use them for brushes, for blending, sorry. I'm just going to turn this around. We'll follow the same pattern as we did the first time. And I am not going to talk through this part. I will speed it up so that you don't have to sit here and painfully watch me blend for half an hour. Okay, now it is very important to use your embossing buddy on here. You don't want to have embossing everywhere. We're using Versamark and Butterfly Gala, obviously. And we are just going to use all of the different butterflies. And I think I'm going to kind of go for the same look that I had here. So we'll ink that up. Now this stamp is okay, but there is one in the set that you absolutely need the Stampin' Pierce mat for. I'm also going to apply the powder as I go so that I have a very clear idea of where it is that I've already embossed. and basically to test that my embossing isn't going to stick everywhere because my paper was still damp. Okay, so even at that, it is quite a sight to look at just with all of those clear embossed butterflies. But we are going to take it a step further. We're going to see if we can tape this back on, and if we need another piece of washi tape on there to hold it on, so be it. I tried embossing it the first time with it still attached to the board, and it really didn't work. I had to emboss from the top, and I don't like to do that because it blows so much of the powder off. So it has to be taken off for that part. Okay, so the next step is to take our craft white ink pad, our Whisper White craft stamp pad, and there are a couple different ways you can do this. So my stamp pad isn't exactly white, but no biggie. So you can take a life-changing blender brush and start brushing it on there. And this is what I did for my first layer. Now, when I did this the first time, my blended background had sat overnight to dry. So there was no heat tool and it was fully dry. Sorry for the shake, there's just really no way to prevent it, short of taping my grid paper down, which I suppose I could do. Now, at this part, you want to hold the side down because it will crease and bend. For the next layer, all I did was just ran it over top. And this part is optional. If you're happy with it after that first application, then just skip this part. Oops, I thought that was gonna happen. Okay, so we don't really need the tape at this point anyways. We are now just blend in any that's kind of sitting there. And the Jennifer Maguire way is to just take a clean, dry microfiber cloth and just wipe any excess away. So this takes the white off of any of the embossed surfaces. Move to a different area if you find that it's not quite picking it up the same. I didn't really find a difference between going in circles versus going in lines, but feel free to experiment with that. I just found I was a little less likely to crinkle my paper by going in circles. Except in the corners, of course. Okay, it may still feel a little slick, and that is fine. We're going to heat up that tool, the heat tool, one more time and watch the magic. So that just helps to bring back the shine that we had rubbed off with our ink. And because everything is already set, my embossing powder has melted, I can hit it from the top. So we are now ready to take off our washi tape. This is Scotch brand washi tape. I don't think it really matters what kind you use. Taking the third largest, and we could go a little bit bigger actually. Let's make it a little bit bigger. This card isn't going to be exactly the same as my sample to begin with, so that is okay. And just a tip here, if you haven't seen any of my other videos with the stitched rectangles, you always want to put it on an angle. It helps to reduce the amount of cracking that you get, and it reduces the pressure on the roller, hence less cracking, but it also gives you a cleaner cut. So you don't get that big clunk that you normally get when you're cutting something of this size. Actually, while we have this out, we are going to do our other die cutting because there's just one little piece. So I used two different sets here. I used the Butterfly from the Well Said or Well Written. It is Well Written framelits. It's Well Said stamp set. So I used the little butterfly that was from that set. And then I also used another retiring piece. Now, the stamp set was a celebration item last year, so this is not available. But I did use the word you. And these words are retiring. Celebrate amazing you. So if you are wanting to have these in your stash, I would highly recommend ordering them like today, because stamps are guaranteed till the end of May. However, dies are not. When they're gone, they're gone. Okay, so with this, I didn't want the word you. I wanted the word joy. So I just put it on the back of my paper. Secure it with a little piece of washi tape. And then for my butterfly, I do want him on the front. So I just put him on the front, her, either or. And then I did both at the same time. And then I ran it through about 3 times, because this is on glimmer paper. I think that was 4, but that's okay. So you can see that those have cut out just beautifully. Taking our paper piercing tool, or the take your pick tool. The paper piercing tool is retiring as well. And at $5, and oops, I forgot there was washi tape on there. At $5.50 Canadian, you cannot go wrong. I have both tools and they both have their uses, but I do find that I use the paper piercing tool for things like this, and it's always out. My take your pick tool ends up in my toolkit, and it's kind of a process to get it out. So I use this all the time. And this is a great add-on if you have an order that is close to, say for example, you're wanting to get my Stamping Society tutorial for the month, and you have like a $29 order or a $30 order. Add that paper piercing tool and you've now hit your $33 order to get my Stamping Society tutorial. So it is a perfect add-on. Okay, so I talked my way through that, but all you have to do is cut off the top of that U. Now the other thing I did is, because this is upside down, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a bit of a lip on there. All I did, because I'm kind of picky like this, is I ran it through my Big Shot again. No dye, just on the plates. Take it through, take it back. And it is now flat. It doesn't have any more lip on it. So any dies that you use backwards, that is a good tip. I'm thinking now there was the Smitten Mittens bundle, not this past holiday catalog, but the one before, and it drove me crazy that there was only one die. So you would have a left and a right, but one of them would be upside down. Had I thought of this then, I wouldn't have had one mitt that had the lip on one side and the lip on the other. So I was thinking today. Now you're just going to pop this out of here. In case you haven't heard, stampedAF has dissolved its relationship with Sizzix, so the Big Shot is not going to be part of our 2019-2020 annual catalog. A new die cutting machine will be announced as soon as they have more information. But the new dies, let me just tell you, they are amazing. If you haven't seen any of my Facebook Lives or my videos, So these are Sizzix. They have their Sizzix number on the back, and they warp. So every time I take any of my rectangle framelits off of the Big Shot, I kind of have to bend them back a little. And these ones, don't get me wrong, I love these double stitched rectangles, but they are a little sharp, and I'm always scared that I'm going to bend them just a little bit too far and they're going to break. The new dies with the direct to manufacturer that we're using now don't have that issue. So these are the new nested dies, which will be in the new annual catalog. There is no warping. They aren't sharp. They're beautiful. And these ones don't have a number. I know that there's always one in the set that does have the number, but this is marked Stampin' Up, and it has the number on there. Isn't that amazing how you couldn't read it before, and then I put my hand in there and voila. Anyways, so these are part of the nested dies, and just amazing. These are the detailed lace edgets, delicate lace edgets. I can never remember. Anyways, beautiful. Okay, so we need a Whisper White thick card base. Okay, now we have another step, but first we're going to glue this on. So with our Tombow, you can really see the shimmery cardstock on the back side of this, not so much on the front. And there's one other thing that I'm going to change on this card. Okay, so that is ready. Now we can take our Joy and just add some dots or a little line. You don't want to add too much because you don't want it seeping out. And now this is where the take your pick tool comes in handy. See? Process. The lid comes off. I stab myself with this. Take off your lid for the putty end. I had someone playing with this the other night, so there's more putty out than I need. Grab that. This way you're not getting any glue on your fingers. And the reason I had it in the middle on this one was because there was a little dark circle that ended up kind of... I was hiding a spot. Let's be honest, I was hiding a spot. So we're gonna just do that. I want to move that away from the stitching just a little bit. Put a couple of blocks on it so that while we are getting our butterfly prepared, that can be adhering. I'm not gluing the wings down. I'm just doing that middle part. And then I kind of want this butterfly to look like it's flying out of the J. Which kind of sounds funny, I know, but I just have some of my Paper Pumpkin Whisper White baker's twine. I'm just going to cut a little length. Now, if I were smart, I would tie it on here first and then cut it, but I'm not that smart. So let's just tie this on here. I felt like it was just missing something. And I mean, this time it's a top folding card. It probably doesn't need anything up there, but I did it once. I'm doing it again. At least I think I'm doing it again. The twine seems to have a different opinion on that. This way you don't end up with a super loose knot. Okay, and just tighten up those little loops. Hopefully it doesn't twist as you're going. And then just cut those. Actually, I want this one a little bit smaller. There we go. Cute. Okay, now there are two more steps to this. Before I do the final step on the outside, we've got Joy with our little butterfly flying out. And then on the inside, we are going to do the good things in life are better with you. And we're going to do a marker to stamp for this. And I think I'm going to change it so that the pineapple punch is kind of in the middle there. that is all. All the details will be on my blog post for the What Will You Stamp Design Team Challenge. Feel free to join along. The only parameter is that it has to be with Butterfly Gala. It doesn't even have to be the punch. It can just be the butterflies. As you can see, I didn't use the punch here anywhere. So thank you for watching this, and I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button below and catch new videos each and every week. Bye, my crafty friends.